How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel and another video with me, OLT. The observant ones of you will see I have the Audi A6 E-Tron over my shoulder. That's actually in its launch edition spec. I've had the car for a few days and I'm going to give you a full in-depth review of what I think it's like and whether this new electric version of the A6 is something you should consider buying. Let's get into it. So this new all-electric E-Tron A6, what's different about it then? Well, from this angle you're probably thinking, you know what, there's not that much different between the old A6 and this new A6 in its all-electric version. You get obviously these new handles which are seamless into the bodywork. You get that E-Tron logo down the side there. You get the new A6 logo with its little red square, and you also get that big green rectangle on your reg to say your car is electric. And not to mention, you now don't have any exhaust at the back. But what else is different? Because to be honest, for some people you might be thinking, well, this car looks exactly the same from the rear, but it's when you get to the front of this car that you think, wow, this car has really changed from its all combustion engine predecessors. The front of the A6 then, this is maybe where Audi have made this car a little bit Marmite. I'm not sure whether it's this launch edition spec colour, which is I don't even know how to describe it. It's a turquoisey, greeny, tealy colour. I don't know if that's just not really showing off the car in its best light, but for me, I'm not a massive fan to start with of this new A6 up front. The grille is really not very sporty whatsoever. It doesn't have any louvres in the front of bonnet apart from two of them now, but for me they've got this new headlight design which tries to make the headlights skinnier, but I'm just not sure it's for me, to be honest. I think the old A6 looked a lot meaner, a lot more aggressive from the front, but this is the electric version, so the grills are all covered up and it doesn't quite have the same kick that it used to. I've spun the car around then so you can get a better angle in the sunlight of this car, and for me, I just don't think it's as nice as it could have been on this new A6. Getting close then you can see this is the new headlight design. It's got really slim, really sleek. These unfortunately underneath are a bit dirty now, but you've got some extended headlights underneath there. But I just don't think this new A6 front has the aggression and the sportiness and the nice design that the old A6 had. I think on an A6 it's got to sit low, it's got to sit wide, and it's got to have quite an aggressive front grille, but this one just doesn't have it. Obviously this being body colour around the reg plate, if that was black maybe then we're talking something different, but I need to see this car in more colours. But for me, in this launch edition colourway, I don't think the front end of the A6 is going to have too many favourites. One feature I do think is a massive improvement on the A6 though is these flush door handles that you can see now on this A6 E-Tron. You don't get any door handles that stick out anymore on cars these days, and Audi have followed suit. As you can see, if I come up close, you'll just put your hand underneath there and that's what opens up the door. There is no handle whatsoever, there is just a slight button underneath that flush handle there, and I do think that's a really big improvement. It just makes the car look so sleek from the side profile, and it just keeps it nice and flush with all these smooth lines looking really, really nice. Now this is also going to contrast opinions. Luckily here in the UK these are an optional extra. It is the camera wing mirrors rather than your classic mirrors. Do I like them? You know what, I'm not too sure. I think they look better on this than they do the big Q8 because they don't look as small as they did on the Q8. They kind of fit the car size for this A6, but it is something that you've got to take in mind when you're driving. It is a different experience. I'll show you on the interior what it's like when those cameras are on. It's something you can choose. You can go for these options or you can go for a normal mirror. It's completely up to you. As you can see from this angle, you do get this big chunk in the corner of your mirror there that you can see. That is a bit of an obstruction, but you're meant to be looking inside the car, you're not meant to be looking outside the car to view the camera on this one. As you can see, it's got the screen there. So there's the screen there. I know the camera is going to make this flicker, but it doesn't in person, I can promise you that. It's a nice quality. If I put my hand out here, as you can see, that's exactly how the camera works. There's no lag, no delay, it's a completely live camera. One feature that this new A6 E-Tron has that I think is actually really handy and really nice is, as you can see, it has this massive, what is a petrol cap, but on these ones with being electric, it's not. It's where it houses the electric charging port. So if you come up with this, you give it a tap, that will electronically open up for you, revealing the charging port. You then give that another tap and that will electronically close itself. Really nice feature, but the feature gets better for me is it doesn't just have one on the left hand side. You come around to the right hand side of the car, and as you can see, we'll have another charging port on the right hand side of the car. A little tap, it opens up, revealing the charging port. Little tap again, and it'll close for you. Having that on both sides make this car really simple and really effective to use. You can park it driving into a bay, reversing into a bay, it doesn't matter. You are always going to have an option to have your electric charging port on the left or right. You don't have to think about it, just park the car however you like. When we step inside the car, then this is where this new A6 has really stepped up its game. As you can see, then you've got this new massive sloping screen that runs curved along the dashboard. You then have another screen on the side there, which is a passenger display. Like I mentioned, you have these two screens on each door for your cameras, and new center console in the middle, which is really plush, really nice, to be honest. The materials in here are really solid. As you can see with this launch edition spec, it does have the S-Line kit on it as well, which just adds a few nice extra features like the Alcantara in the middle of the seats and the S logo, as you can see there. I'll step inside and I'll show you just how good this new infotainment and digital dash is. When you step into the new A6 E-Tron, then you are greeted with this massive curved screen that runs into your digital dash. As you can see, this is a massive improvement on the previous A6 screens. You've then got this other passenger display screen here, which isn't currently on at the moment. I'm not sure this has been fully configured, as I've been struggling to get this to actually work and load properly. I think you maybe have to set up your user profile rather than using it as a guest before that activates fully, but don't quote me on that. This is a brand new car. It's got only a few hundred miles on. It's one of the first ones up here in the northeast of England, so it's still getting to grips with this car. The center console then, like I was saying, is very new. It now houses the drive select on there that you can see your hazards and your traction control on and off. You've got access to your cameras down here, as you can see, your park, and this is your new gear selector. You can close up the cup holders, but for me, I'm not a massive fan of this from Audi. I think they can make this look better. And then you have your nice storage bin under here, which actually runs underneath the cup holders, which is really nice as well, so you can store things underneath there. Just a little bit of extra space. You've obviously got your USB-Cs there and your smoking port, if people still use them these days. I'm very surprised if they do, but you do have one of them there if you ever feel like using it. This new steering wheel then, it's much nicer than the previous ones in my opinion, especially when you think of my A5. This is all haptic touch now on your steering wheel, and it's much nicer to look at than the old one is. It's got the flat bottom steering wheel. It's also got a flat top, which I really like, and it just makes this new A6 feel a lot more modern on the inside, and that's really what Audi have went for with this one. Then have all of these options on the right hand side of your door card, just above where you would put your window up and down. I'll try and get the camera to focus in on here, but as you can see, it's basically all of your light displays and your wing mirror options, as well as your heated seats, your memory function for where you want the car seat to go when you get in and out, your lock and unlock functions, as well as your child lock at the back. What I was very surprised at when I saw this though is this side has it, and I thought, well, that'll move on to this side as well. It unfortunately doesn't. I thought there might have been another little screen on there, you know, to maybe put your heated seat on and adjust your seat and memories, but it doesn't have it on the left hand side of the passenger, which I thought was a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. If you want to adjust these cameras, then I'm going to try and show you this as best as I can. To adjust this camera then, with a normal wing mirror, you do just move the mirror. This one, you can actually move the camera, so you put your finger on the screen, and as you can see, it moves left and right, up and down, however you want it, and then you can just reset it to a default position. If you want to swap the sides, there's a button here where you can press left and right, and that'll let you, from this side, change both displays on there. So if I can, I'll show you. That's on the left, and you're just moving that round, and just however you want to position it, you can do it all from the driver's side, which is really nice. Now if I just reset that, it does have a reset function, so it has like almost a default, which they think is probably the best suited for that camera. Storage wise, this Audi is also quite practical. As you can see, you've got quite a large storage bin on the door there, which currently houses your high vis and a little first aid kit. that's perfect in there. You've obviously got the 2 cup holders on this side. You've got the large storage bin and the same up front for the passenger, as well as these 2 extra cup holders and a wireless phone charger in there also. You're not going to struggle to carry anyone in the back of the A6, and it's really plush in here. I've got this seat horrendously far back. That's as far back as it goes. That is not where I actually sit. The example for the passenger is going to be a lot better, but as you can see, the inside of here is really nice. This Alcantara in the middle of the seats is absolutely lovely. There's loads of visibility in the back as well. This massive pan roof just opens the car up absolutely amazing, and I feel like it's one of the most open and spacious cars I've sat in. You don't feel claustrophobic whatsoever. And the back, like with being a new electric, just you can slide your feet right across and you can easily fit passengers in the back of here, no problems whatsoever. You got the storage bins on the side there, and you also have this netting up front. What's the space like in the boot then on this e-tron? Well, you double click the key, you will operate the electronic tailgate, and as you can see, this is the boot space we have on the e-tron. You've got your charging cables here, which in any electric car is a bit of a nightmare that you have to carry, but they do fit in nicely with loads of room left here as well. You get these nettings on the side here on both sides. This is how you put the seats down, and when you put these seats down, they do offer you so much more room. Underneath then, you could store the electric cables in there, I suppose, if you really wanted to keep that boot space fully open and fully available for you, especially if you're looking to maximize this space in there. I will knock these seats forward. I don't think they're electric. They're not at all. So just clipping them does set them down, and that maximizes your load space if you did need to carry longer items in this car, but you're not going to struggle, I don't think. It's a massive boot. It's 507 litres, so really if you wanted to ditch these into this compartment under here, you do have 507 litres of space to get all of your shopping, loads of suitcases. You're not going to struggle whatsoever, in my opinion, with this new A6 e-tron. Where I think you might get slightly disappointed with this A6 e-tron's interior is actually going to be at knee level in this car. As you can see, once you drop the camera down, you do start to reveal a lot of scratchy plastics. So underneath here, as you will see, scratchy plastic, scratchy plastic, scratchy plastic. You then come under your door cards and they get scratchy all the way down here, but sort of anything above elbow level, it's really nice. You've got this Alcantara here which rides up. You've got a nicer bit of plasticky leather up here. You've got this trim on the door, if I can manage the lighting, and then obviously the dashboard is absolutely lovely. The seats are lovely as well, and the headline is amazing. You've got this pan roof as well, and I'm going to show you a great feature about this pan roof. If you press this button here, you can then open it up to be fully open and just have the translucent stripes going across. If you then press it, you can change where these translucent stripes go. You can press it down, fully translucent, or press it up, and that'll slowly open it up for you. So that is just an electronically operated So I'm not entirely sure what you would call that, but it's like one of those pieces of glass where it's got the electronics in to open up that system. It just, it blows my mind, to be honest. So I'm just going to show you the features of it and just let you be amazed just as much as it amazed me. Right, we've got the car currently in dynamic mode, foot on the brake, traction control off. I'm going to slam my foot down and we're going to see how quick this car can hit 60. And that's 60. We're going to do the same again, this time with traction control on. So foot on the brake, foot all the way down the pedal, release the brake. And that's 60.
What really matters is how this new A6 e-tron drives. There are three versions of the Audi A6 Sportback e-tron to choose from, starting with the entry-level Sport. The Sport gets a 282 brake horsepower electric motor powering the rear wheels and can officially accelerate from 0 to 62 in 7 seconds, which is around a second slower than the BMW i5. For even more performance, if you wanted it, there's a fittingly named Sport e-tron Performance and the Sport e-tron Quattro, which boost the normal power to 362 brake horsepower and 422 brake horsepower respectively. The A6's range depends on the version you get, so the entry-level Sport gets a 75.8 kilowatt-hour battery, and Audi say it will manage about 384 miles on a full charge. That's what they tell you. I found it's a lot less than that, unfortunately. but it is more than the equivalent BMW i5, but less than the Mercedes EQE 350. The other two versions get a bigger 94.9 kWh battery. The mid-spec Sport e-tron Performance matches 464 miles, which is further than any i5 or EQE and even beats the more expensive Porsche Taycan, but the demands of the A6 Sport e-tron's Quattro system with its extra motor reduce the range slightly up to 440 miles, but that's still a match for most rival electric cars. Driving the A6 and its e-tron variant is where the car starts to feel a lot more refined than its combustion engine brother. There obviously isn't any engine noise, and the cabin does well to dull out the wind and road noise, especially when travelling on motorways. The weight of the electric battery causes the suspension to be firm, so it doesn't deal with large potholes or speed bumps particularly well, but it does smooth out other imperfections on the road, and when you're cruising at motorway speeds it becomes a lot more settled and wafty. The A6 has a pretty controlled feeling as well, I found, and has probably one of the best aerodynamic bodies of any Audi, so it doesn't sway around over undulating roads and it stays upright through the corners. You'll be seeing some clips in the background now, so you'll be able to see that the steering is well weighted, and when the car is put into its sportier driving mode, it can give you plenty of confidence to push on even when driving more enthusiastically. It is on the larger end and heavier end for this type of car, but it still provides you with a fun, dynamic driving capability on twisty roads before effortlessly returning to a comfortable and luxurious cruiser. The techless car comes with a stepped up more than just another Audi. Its previous interior is nothing compared to what this one has. The dashboard houses an 11.9-inch digital driver's display and a 14.5-inch infotainment touchscreen which loops around and curves so nicely on the dash. On higher spec models you can get the passenger display as well, almost making the dashboard one giant screen. You have every driver assistance imaginable in this new A6 e-tron, and when in automatic mode, the car senses the road layout and other vehicles around you and adjusts the braking level to suit, which I found really useful, to be fair. The car's ambient lighting pairs with the driving assistances as well, and so you'll be able to see in the video on the motorways and stuff like that, the lights on the dashboard light up indicating, or if there's another car in your blind spot, it lets you know by flashing red, green, amber and so on. A negative to this new incredible technology though is the loss of physical touch buttons. Absolutely every feature now runs through the infotainment screen, which can make things like the aircon a bit more difficult to change while you're driving. So for me, what would I do if I were in the market for a car like the A6 e-tron? Would I buy it or would I bin it? Well, I'd say it's definitely in contention. The e-tron, in my opinion, is right up there with the best interiors of a modern vehicle. It has the driving capabilities to make this an effortless commuter, and while still having the playful side if you want to drive it dynamically. I get that electric vehicles worry some people, and it would be in the same boat for me, to be honest, especially with how we've seen the other electric vehicles depreciate over the years. So personally, I would only suggest the A6 e-tron if it's going to be over its combustion engine, if you're going to purchase this through a company or on a lease deal. But to make you feel a little better, the e-tron comes with a 3-year 60,000 mile warranty, and it comes as standard as well with the new A6 e-tron that you get the battery covered by a separate 8-year or 100,000 mile warranty. I've been OLT, thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you in another one.